And you thought Kingsman was classy.
The man was Le Chiffre, private banker to the world's terrorists, which would explain how he could set up a high-stakes poker game at Casino Royale in Montenegro. If he loses this game, he'll have nowhere to run. You're the best player in the service.
The Treasury has agreed to stake you in the game. But if you lose, our government will have directly financed terrorism.
Casino Royale. So for the release of Spectre, I will be doing the 3 Daniel Craig James Bond movies that came before Spectre. The first one, of course, is Casino Royale. It was released in 2006 and it's directed by Martin Campbell. It stars Daniel Craig, Eva Green, Judi Dench and Mads Mikkelsen. Martin Campbell previously directed the first Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie, GoldenEye. I saw GoldenEye. I am not really a fan of GoldenEye itself. Alright, so I'm just gonna be blatant. I'm just gonna put it out here. There will be spoilers in this review if you have not seen it. This movie is 9 years old. I would have expected you to have seen it by now. I love the opening scene. The opening scene was entirely shot in black and white, and it's more of an origin on how James Bond got the 007 status. How it explores that, how he's not really affected by the killing that much, and how he is so prepared to do it. The opening scene followed after that, where there's a chase through Africa. That's well done. I really like that chase scene. I love the final scene, how it explains why Bond sleeps with so many women. It's because he has felt pain. It's because the love of his life died right in front of him, and he couldn't do anything to save her. And he's just heartbroken, so he tries to make it up by sleeping with a lot of women. Performances across the board were great. Daniel Craig, he is Bond. He is James Bond. He is very interesting as the character. He encompasses all of Bond. People were complaining, oh, he's got blonde hair. He cannot be James Bond. He is James Bond now. He is. Mads Mikkelsen, he was amazing. He managed to portray so many different elements into one of his character into one. His character was cold and calculating, yet very scared and very cowardly. How he says, I'll get you the money sooner. He's not the one in charge. He is scared of the person who is above him, the person who took his money from, and he lost all the money. And he's very scared for his life. He's a coward. He wants to live. He will do anything to live, and then he pays the price for it by dying. Eva Green was pretty good. There was not much to say about her character other than it was developed a bit in the first time she was introduced. But then, and she died, and she paid the price for betraying Bond herself. Judi Dench was great. She manages to threaten James Bond all the time. And Bond listens to her some of the time. He's the only one that he would take orders from. After the climax, it starts to wrap up, and then it just seemed... Some of the big problems for the movie for me is that after the climax, it tends to wrap up, and then it feels like you're wrapping up all these plot holes, and then it's just half an hour of James Bond going on, like, vacation with the love of his life. It's not... For me, I'm like, this is not James Bond. It does pay off later in the film and in the sequel, but it just wasn't... I'm just like, alright, whatever, I don't really care, get back to the action. The final action scene after that was decent. It was not great. It was not... I'm just like, alright, you had this action sequence because you've had gone half an hour without doing anything. You've been in love with each other. And so for me, it felt like the whole movie could have been cut half an hour shorter. They could have found some other way to wrap things up really absurdly and fast. They could have just left it open and they could have explained it in the sequel for later. It did not need this half an hour despite it paying off later. It did not need to happen, and the film could have easily been half an hour shorter. I'm going to give Casino Royale an 8.5 out of 10. I highly recommend this movie and it's worth checking out. That is the first of my 3 videos for the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. If you like this video, leave a like down below. If you tell me have you seen this movie? Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. You can find me on Snapchat at Platypus0015, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.